I am writing an impact statement this morning in regards to Glen Collins. We share a son, Jaidon Collins. With the effect this crime had on my life, I don't even know where to begin. This is the most traumatic experience I have ever had to go through. It has caused a lot of depression, anxiety, and isolation on both mine and Jaidon's part. My son should be looking at being a senior next year, although instead he's in the same spot he was before this tragedy occurred. He is struggling to get by in school and still considered a 9th grader. Even with all the extra help and programs he has been offered, his motivation is gone. Jaidon lost the most out of this. He lost his sister, his father, and his father's family, along with his teenage life. Simple things such as being on the basketball team at school, which he wants to do so bad, his injury prevents him from doing so. The fact that he reached out to a family member in the hospital, who then turned to Glen to pass on what he confided in her with, has hurt his trust and willingness to share his feelings and emotions. My son did not ask to be put in this situation, but he was asked to tell the truth. And by him telling the truth, his whole family turned on him. They tell him, your dad's looking at 30 years. You put your dad in jail. Well, my son is looking at more than that. He was 14 when this happened. He will live with this the rest of his life, as will Glen. But Glen will have his family supporting him, like they've done since the beginning. But what about Jaidon? All they've done is harassed him from the beginning for telling the truth. It's not easy doing what Jaidon had to do, but he did what's right. And he got shunned for doing what's right on top of everything else that he's dealing with. To Glen, it's always about who won. Well, guess what, Glen? Nobody won. We all lost. All the blame is on Jaidon, but what about the blame for Glen? For me, I live every day with survivor's guilt. Of course, I'm happy I still have my son, but how sad I am for Julie. I feel guilt that my son survived and that her child did not. As a mother, do you know what that feels like for that thought to even come into your head? I also have flashbacks over and over again. It's very self-destructing. Child Protective Services come to my home every month, 2 times a month, to do a home visit for at least an hour. Not for anything I did wrong, but for a situation that we were thrown into. Hillside's Children's Center comes to my house as well to do some home-based counseling since Jaidon refuses treatment. We go to several appointments with neurologists, cardiologists, the rehab main doctor, and his regular physician, along with all the court appointments and regular appointments that Jaidon has. I'm pretty stretched with him, which leaves less time and attention for my other children. They too have also suffered because of this. I attend counseling every week for myself, as well as all of my medical appointments. I miss several days from work that add up to months and months of time off. And dealing with all these emotions and obstacles, I still have to be strong for Jaidon. I have to be his rock, his pillow, his punching bag, his tissue, his counselor, and his mom. I am very disgusted that this went to trial. Nobody thought about Jaidon. And when I say nobody, you know who I'm speaking to. Not only did we all hear details of autopsy results and conditions of the house, we heard things that will haunt us forever. I keep replaying in my head how Glen sent Jaidon down to flip the breaker many times without a cover on it where he could have been electrocuted. I know my son is a true miracle. I wish that Glen would have took the plea bargain and not put Jaidon in another situation that he had no control over. The right thing to do would have been to take responsibility for what happened, like cause and consequence. But he has been used to being bailed out his whole life. Even with Jaidon's testimony, Glen would still be, even without Jaidon's testimony, still be right where he is. But, as I have learned, we cannot turn back the clock. We must only move forward. Giving my opinion on an appropriate sentence, it makes me very sad that the court wants to listen to me now. But I do thank the people who did listen, like Melanie, Matt, and Tressa. But again, no amount of time will bring anybody's life back to how it was before August 28, 2014. It won't bring Ella back, and it won't undo all the hurt and pain that Jaidon and everyone else involved has felt. So I cannot give you my opinion, Your Honor, as we are all facing our own sentence for this crime.